Okay, so as we said last tutorial, if we go into our inspect here in Chrome and we go to our console, we click any of these buttons, we get an error because we don't have any JavaScript defined. So we're going to work on that in this tutorial. So we're going to need our JavaScript file. So Control N for a new file, we'll save it and we'll call it script.js. Now we need to link that to our HTML to that JavaScript file. So we'll type in script in Sublime and then hit tab, type, and then we need to type in source equals, and it will be // which is a relative path. So in our folder here, it just means this is our HTML file and we're looking in the same folder. So // and we called it script.js. Okay, so we'll save that, and then in our script, so this is where our JavaScript goes. So first thing we do is we do use strict, and this just enforces a couple best practices in JavaScript. And then we can write our function. So we call it function. The one that we have right now is button. So this is our button function. Now, if we look in our HTML, this button function also takes in a value. We might as well just call it value. And then just to make sure it's working, we'll do console.log value. So what this does is it just prints this value to our console. Okay, so save this and we'll see if everything's working. Okay, so we'll refresh, then we'll open up our Chrome again, go to our console, and now if we hit 5, what we're expecting is for this function in JavaScript to get called. So each time our button calls it on click, it passes it this value, which is this value here, and then it prints it to our console. So hit 5, and there we go, 5 worked. Okay, so that's working. So what we would like now is if we hit 4, we want a 4 to show up in here. So let's just see if we can do that. So we're going to do document.get element by ID. So this is a call to our document, which is we can think of as our HTML document. And we're getting, we want to update our text area. So we can put in an ID here equals display, let's say. So if we go back to our JavaScript, we do document.getElement by ID, and then in quotation marks, display. We can then get that element. Okay, but now in order to set this, we actually need to add in another attribute here, which is value. So value equals 0, and then we'll actually remove that 0 there. Okay, so let's refresh here. No, put a 0 back in. Yeah. 0. And then if we do .value, it gets this attribute, and we will just set it equal to value. Our button function in JavaScript is calling the document, which is the HTML. It's getting the element by ID display, which is our text area, and it's setting the value, so .value, that attribute, to this value, which is passed into our function. Okay, so a value gets passed into this function, and then we set it to the text area. So let's see if that's working. And it is. Cool. Okay, now we'll implement our clear button. So when we hit clear, we want this to go back to 0. So again, function clear, and it doesn't take in any attributes. And then we just copy this line. So document.getElement by ID and set the value to 0. Okay, so let's see if this works. So we'll refresh and then put in 8 and then clear. And nothing happens. Okay, the reason why nothing's happening is we've called our function clear, which makes sense. But clear is actually a reserved word in JavaScript. So we're not actually allowed to use that. So we're going to change this to clear display and save that and then copy it and then change this on click to clear display, save that, refresh, 8, clear, and then it goes back to 0, just like we want. We can add in these other functions as well. So minus over here. I guess we'll call this one negative because you're making the number positive or negative. Divide. And we won't add in the functionality for all these quite yet, but we'll have the functions in. So I'll multiply. Oh, this is actually, sorry, this is like back. And this is minus. Plus, or addition. Yeah, this should be subtraction. Decimal and equals. Call it equal. Okay, so now when we refresh, try one of these, we get the errors again. So we'll just go in and add some dummy functions for now. So function, and we'll copy this a few times. So we had like addition, subtraction, multiply, divide, equals, then we had negative, and what was the other one? Back. I think we had back. So now when we click these, we don't get, nothing happens, but we're not getting those errors. So equals not defined. Oops, equals. Decimal. If you want, you could add a console.log in here. So console.log equal and multiply. So equal should be there and multiply should be there. Well, we now have our JavaScript set up and ready to go. We will start adding in our functionality in the next video.